I was doing this, okay. But later, like, society and expectation, बहुत पढ़ना वो पड़ा. So, but still it is there. Okay. So, the deal is that you'll also have complex. Okay. ये kind of करेंगे. So, how many of you know guitar or music equipment here? Okay. So this is G major. So can you hear this note or this part? Okay? And this is that E minor. And you have to hum with me, okay? So this happens when there is rain after a long time, right? And I've tried a bit of whatever bit of Hindustani classical and some accidental chords from the Western music. So I've tried to kind of use them. And I'm not very skilled guitarist, but I'll try. Like, swinging with the sunshine over the day, dancing with the rainbow. make you feel a bit more home and not necessarily miss Garba too much. So of course, I mean, I cannot compensate, but I'm sure many of you, I mean, you want to come and play?
अमिताभ
तू जो नहीं जा दोनों भी जा दोनों जा ठीक है
हाँ तू जा
सर गाते नहीं आता मुझे
किसको आता है?
मैं गाने सुनते ना
So what is that listen? Anup Jain और प्रतीक को एक्सप्लेन सुनते हो? नहीं, अब इसके आगे क्या आगे? क्या आगे? माया. When Jain had toast and all?
सर यू
मेरा हो गया यार?
नहीं सर हमारे साथ
I have done my
अभी कुछ दिनों से लग रहा है बदले बदले से हम हैं हम बैठे बैठे दिल में सपने देखते नींद है अभी कुछ दिनों से लग रहा है बदले बदले से हम हैं हम बैठे बैठे दिल में सपने देखते नींद है अभी कुछ दिनों से सुना है दिल का रौद भी कुछ नया है कोई राज कम वक्त है छुपाए खुदा ही जाने ये क्या है बेशक नहीं रहा इस प्यार हो गया
mean, today I think it was better than bit yoga. But अब lecture होगा. So I will start the lecture for which I was invited. Okay. Rest of the things are voluntary nature. Everything till now, when the weather lunch becomes so absolutely voluntary. So I told Master that I mean, if you want to.
ये सबमिट करना है,
ये सबमिट करना है, इसमें मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे अच्छे।
This room was by Anup Jain.
Yeah.
Different generation. What years of that?
प्रतीक कुमार
Pratik Bhawan. What else?
Arjit Singh. Bollywood song.
Dr. Sri Sai. Look at the one song I know. Okay, I seek your attention and while the other white sheets come in. How many of you read white sheets? Okay, so just 5 minutes they'll be there till the time you manage any job. Right. So HFG goal we have discussed, right? Government school. And now I'll show that you know how design came to it. Through HFG goal, through other things, through India report and all. How many of you know India report? Have you heard India report? Who else? Right. Okay. Whoever needs it. Just 1 hour, guys. Stay awake. That's it. 1 hour. 10:15. So, what happens when you hear about design in India? What happens when you hear about design in India? What comes to your mind? An idea. Okay, that's okay. But some design from India. Textiles, temples, embroidery, buildings. What else? Handicrafts. What else? Printing. Lota. Okay. Yeah, Lota is very important, and I'll show you what Charles Eames called Lota as Lota. So guys, I mean, you guys are very, very lucky because when I was born in 1980s, India was still underdeveloped. Still it is underdeveloped, and there were many words which were used for India, like, you know, non-aligned, that I mentioned. I mean, whether it's not the first word or the second word, it's non-aligned, and also it's a third word, right? And I have seen in my life that, you know, how this position shifted from an underdeveloped world to a developing world, right? So now we are talking about the BRICS and this G20. I'm sure you have seen this G20 everywhere, you know. And it kind of a kind of stance that, you know, India is now kind of, it's like developing fast, if not developed. Okay? And this is the reason that, you know, why we are sitting in this class, and this class is air conditioned class. Okay? It kind of conveys that all of us actually who are here mostly somehow are able to afford this education, and this has happened through a lot of processes, right? Including the economic liberalization. We wonder that, you know, what has been the role of design in this? Do you wonder that what has been the role of design in India's progress? Right? And when we think about it, there are only few milestones, or the mountain peaks. So first is India Report, that kind of celebrates the initiation of an ID, of which kind of suggested that, you know, something should be done. Second is one Ahmedabad Declaration, which was like, you know, which was about whatever we should design should be designed for the whole developing world. Third is this National Design Policy, and fourth is this Make in India. I'm sure, have you seen this line? Right? So this is Make in India logo, but this was made in Germany. Okay, so that's an irony. But, you know, still there are certain issues which needs to be addressed, and how do designers kind of find something within this? Okay? What's your role? So I'll take you through a journey, like, you know, what has been the role of design, or what has been the shape of design before 1996. In fact, before you were born. Right? So I'll start with two legendary designers, Charles and Ray Eames, and why they are so important. Charles and Ray Eames were like American designers, practitioners, amazing sensibilities in terms of furniture design. Their contribution is like is kind of present in forms of many chairs, many furniture pieces across the world through various agencies, including Urban Miller and so many other agencies. So while we talk about, like, you know, these celebrity designers, or this India Report or Design Manifesto, we also need to look into what has been part of this whole mountain range, which is Indian design. So we don't have to just look at the peaks, we have to look at the whole mountain range. And to understand this, we have to take a run up. You understand, bowler takes a run up if you see cricket. He takes a run up, like, you know, run up. In long jump also, you must have realized that long jumpers, they take run up just to jump further, right? So we'll take some run up, and we'll look into the pre-independence scenario. And I'll take you to the 1850s and this particular building. or this particular event, if I may call, is known as the Crystal Palace. Have you heard of this term, Crystal Palace?
Yes.
Right? Were you taught about this? Very good. That's it. Okay. So Crystal Palace, near London, which is also now a football club in the English Premier League. Okay, they play the second division. Hosted a grand exhibition, or the great exhibition, where India was also part of, like Indian handicraft were also part of this whole exhibition. And they were loved by so many buyers, so many visitors in the whole exhibition. So we have this expos and all. I'm sure you have seen some expos in Delhi, Bombay, Aurangabad, or anywhere in your cities also. They focus on different products like cars. There's an auto expo in Delhi. There's a craft expo. There's a business expo. There's this, what do you call it? Vibrant Gujarat Summit also. So these are basically outreach activities. So this was also an exhibition and outreach activity for the crafts or for the objects from the worldwide, and the Indian section was done. Okay, but something was missing according to the Britishers, not necessarily according to the Indians, but according to the Britishers. And those things which were missing were majorly taste, as identified by the Britishers. So Britishers assumed, or they said, that Indian products are great, but they are not according to our taste. So what do you do to develop or to enhance the taste? You train people. You train the craftsmen. How do you train the craftsmen? How do you train the designers? To open design schools. So 4 design schools were opened. First was in Madras. Second was in Kolkata, they became a government college of art. Third was in Bombay, which is now known as JJ School of Art. Have you heard this name?
Yes.
JJ. And fourth one was in Lahore, Lahore College of Art in Punjab. And you see this, that these 4 colleges or these academies of design or art were covering all 4 cardinal directions. Right? There is south, east, west, and north. Interestingly, after partition, the Lahore College or a part of Lahore College came to Chandigarh. So we also have the Chandigarh College of Art. If you have heard Chandigarh College of Art, CCA it is known as, right? Or there is a School of Art in Delhi University also, like College of Art in Delhi. So these were also. So, idea of this whole initiation was to reorient or to kind of train craftsmen in India or people in India towards the European taste. And this was solely a commercial decision, right? If we make better products, we can sell it in the market. Right? And often these positions, how do you feel this position to be? Like, is it good or is it bad? Is it disgusting or is it like wonderful? How do you think this position is? Like to train people about the taste. What do you think?
I think it would be better because many of the crafts go unrecognized, and because the craftsmen aren't paid enough, they got like extinct. So if someone is trying to give them job and get their art out, right? I think that's right.
Right. So anybody would like to counter Anusha?
I think it just cross influences them into forgetting who they are and believing who someone else is. Or like getting in their culture rather than their own.
Absolutely. So I will not make a judgment, and you should see the both sides. So it's a debate between money and identity or the existence. If they take money, they'll be rich, but I think there's a great threat to their identity or how they make craft, how they do craft. But on the other hand, if they try to save their identity, they might not be able to save themselves because there is no money. And this dilemma is in the present day context also. Many of you are going to become craft entrepreneurs. okay, or design innovators, will be dealing with craftsmen or craftspeople, and what we're telling them, भैया ये बनाओ थोड़ा सा, इसको ना इसको ऐसा बनाओ, so that we are able to sell it in the market. So whatever you are telling them is a commercial decision. But if you're changing a technique, like in their making, you might be influencing their whole knowledge, right? Or their whole approach towards making craft, right? So this is something which happened. Now there's another school, and those who come from the eastern side of India, I'm sure they know what is Shantiniketan, right? So Shantiniketan came as a viable alternate to what could be designed. So Tagore argued that he rejected the European techniques as it accommodated the folk expression in search of universal humanist identity. He said that the modern design is about humanity. It is a very humanist perspective that they take in. Kala Bhavan in the Shantiniketan campus was established in 1990 and was an experimental art school. Literally like Indian Bauhaus, you can call it. So it was like an Indian Bauhaus and created a form of a very rooted modernism. It is modern but very, very rooted one, right? And it was decoupled from the industrial modernization. So some of the industrial modernization things that we discussed, like assembly line. We discussed assembly line, we discussed Fordism, we discussed specialization. It was not necessarily coupled with that. It was not their benchmarks. Right? So Kala Bhavan is again Indian Bauhaus and absolutely a new, There's another version which is there in your own city and also in Wardha. If anyone is from Nagpur, anyone from Nagpur? Right. So near Nagpur there is a place known as Wardha, and here is what Sabarmati. So here is one modernism of Gandhi, which is based on the idea of minimalism or asceticism, being minimal. So we discussed this ascetic and hedonistic dimension to aesthetic.
Yes.
So aesthetic is without anything or keeping minimal things or keeping things in limited quantity, right? And you would see that in our culture also. You would see, like I mentioned, Jain monks. You remember? They would keep minimal things, and they would preach also. Do not try to gather things which are not necessarily, which you do not need, right? So this is another version of, I would say, thinking. This is another school of thought which is based on the idea of identity. Where is Indian architecture? What would be the Indian architecture, right? So led by Shirish Chand Chatterjee, there was one nationalist architecture movement, and they came up with new buildings. So this is Banaras Hindu University, BHU, and this is their building. And which you might say it looks like a temple or something, but it's a university. So they thought that Indian architecture or the reference point lies in the temples. So they should replicate the temples in the public buildings to create an Indian architecture or the Indian design. India's independence. Have you heard that song, Nanna Munna Rahinu? Can someone sing that song? Can someone sing that song? तो उसमें एक आता है ना गाना, नया ज़माना और नई है नगर, देश को बनाऊं ना मशीनों का नगर. Okay, just see the aspiration. देश को बनाऊंगा मशीनों का नगर. Right? So what this small kid wants to do in life, he wants to industrialize the country. And this kid becomes a prototype or an inspiration for all the kids in India. All the kids want to make something, and especially to industrialize it. So you see a totally different modernity now being coming to India. right? And this was supported by the central government. And majorly, this particular gentleman, known as Chacha Nehru. He said that, I'm going to build India through new institutions, through new buildings. Have you heard of Bhakra Nangal Dam?
Yes.
Right? Why is it so much discussed in syllabus? Because it was like a breakthrough. At that particular time, civil engineering and architecture were the technology. Right now, when we talk about technology, it is about AI. Post-independent, it was about civil engineering. Right? Because it was. And with Chacha Nehru, there was one influential figure which I discussed yesterday. Okay? The Corbusier. So Nehru invited Corbusier to India. Let's build something. And then literally he was given, or he was commissioned for Chandigarh. So Nehruvian urbanism or Nehruvian architecture was literally kind of translated into form by Le Corbusier. And that is school of thought, right? Modernism, which we call as modernism. You see this? This is Chandigarh. A very mathematical city, which is based on the gridiron. If you look at traditional cities do not look like this. They have a center, they have a pole, and then they have a periphery. They are mostly like a circle. But here we have a city which is designed for motor cars, which is designed for movement across, right? Which is also designed erasing all the villages. Usually, whenever we design a new town or new city, there's always some space given to the villagers or the native people. Here, a tabula rasa approach. Tabula rasa approach means clean table approach or the clean table approach or clean slate approach was employed in making Chandigarh. And this is very unique in Indian design history. That everything is erased and then you kind of do something. Usually when you go into the real world or market, there will be a lot of conditions and you have to work within that. Right? And this is visible in Corbusier's architecture, and that architecture, that house is also visible in Gandhinagar. So, for example, if you go to Gandhinagar, it's kind of inspired from Chandigarh. Now I come to the first paradigm, which I call as the Indian design history paradigm. We discussed a bit of Charles and James. Actually, important to discuss them because they were very instrumental in bringing design to India. There is one exhibition in 1950s representing textiles and ornaments of India in MoMA, New York, right? And many people visit them, and many people coming to this exhibition and realizing, okay, what India is. But what to do next? Nehru sent his officials to meet Charles and James and invite them to India and do a bit of survey or such as what can be done. Charles and James came to India in 1958, and after visiting the whole country's resource centers, bureaucrats, artisans, architects, educationists, and people related to craft and small-scale industry, the designer couple came up with an iconic document known as the India Report. So if you search India Report, you will find something on the NID website, right? And that's a foundational document, one of the foundational documents of design in India. So what it says, Charles and James, they were sensible people. They said, in order to even approach the quality and values of traditional society, a conscious effort must be made to relate every factor that might possibly have an effect. So it means that यहाँ पे कुछ करना है तो we have to see the large context, which is interestingly very different from this tabula rasa approach, which I mentioned. And you remove everything and then bring something new. They gave example of Indian khada or surari for all these forms, and each called them as lota, right? We Indians know that this lota exists, but of course someone some tourists come to India, they'll have limited vocabulary. This is my reading. So they say that lota, they look into lota and really kind of impressed with telling what lota can do in multiple forms at different scales. And they gave lota as an example of authentic Indian design. However, there were some policy measures also, like what needs to be done in India and all. And it was interpreted, let's open a design school. So National Institute of Industrial Design and IID was established in 1961 in Ahmedabad. Right? Later it became National Design Institute. And then in 1966 or 67 it became National Institute of Design, or NID, what we know now. Right? So, however, another school of design came up in 1970, in the 1969, actually at the end of 1969. So this particular gentleman known as Sudhakar Natkani, who was a student at Ulm School of the HMC Ulm. He came to India, to Ahmedabad, and he was a Mumbaiker, right? And he thought that why a design school is in Ahmedabad? It should be in Mumbai, okay? Because Ahmedabad was a city of textile, but Mumbai was always a city of commerce, of finance, totally different scale. And he said that design is about finance, design is about big things, so it should be in Mumbai. But starting independently is a difficult game. So what he did, he placed this idea in the IID system, right, as one of the disciplines. And hence IDC. I hope you know what is IDC.
Yes.
IDC was initiated in 1969. Are you recording it? Right. So initially, like the dilemma which I mentioned in Bohas, that there were no teachers. So if there is a new idea, design with a capital D, how do you teach it? So they brought in teachers from outside, and this is Armin Hoffman, a Swiss designer, interacting with the local people, or the local designers, or the local teachers. Okay. Interestingly, this is Professor Amit Sasangi, and he was my teacher. Okay. So very interesting, how, and I didn't know that he is such a influential figure unless I became a design historian and I saw so many records about him. It was another discovery. So the international visitors, including eminent designers and academics, contributed to expansion of design to the intellectual and technical inputs. So they would come from outside, they'll show you certain things, and that's the role of visiting faculty. Like we have the visiting faculty here, okay? We have the visiting faculty in our place, and they bring a lot of it, right? They keep the river moving. What were the pedagogical models? Learning by doing. You have to learn by making it. You have to learn while standing in a workshop. So there was nothing like classroom or the workshop. The space was known as the studio. You would be in studio and making things. You're not wasting time in your room and all. You'll be just making it. Whether you're sketching or whether you're kind of weaving or whether you're working on the carpentry, but you're always making things. Right? You make things and then you learn to make mistakes. And that's what we do. The pedagogical framework, same as Ulm. So they literally transplanted what was the syllabus structure in Ulm in NID. Same system, foundation. Once you cross the foundation, you choose what you want to become. A communication designer, or a product designer, or a film and video guy, or an architect. Interestingly, NID also had architecture initially, but it separated around late 1960s, and the School of Architecture came up. The School of Architecture then is now known as CEFT. Right? So the School of Architecture separated from NID, and then it became a totally different entity. And through this processes, it became CEFT University. Right? And now CEFT also has design. Right? Very interesting history. Different. So let me show you that what were the student projects and what were the things that students were making. So this is one project from Bhomik, and then he was a designer later with Mahindra, and he has designed. He was a part of the design team of this popular vehicle known as Scorpio. Have you seen Scorpio? Yeah. So in his IDC days, in 1969 and 70, he designed this kerosene lamp. Right? Because you are always asking देश के लिए क्या करो, society के लिए क्या करो, बना रहे हैं. And then you have to collaborate with local agencies to generate funds. क्या बनाया? Ticket dispenser. I don't know how many of you have seen this ticket dispenser, which was used in the best buses, or the Bombay buses. This was done in 1970, right? Through IDC. So the design schools were not just like academies; they were also consulting agencies. So they were given a lot of government work, design and exhibition. कौन करेगा? Design school करेगा, NID करेगा, IDC करेगा. So many of these exhibitions, whether it's like India Act 25 or what is India Act 25? The Silver Jubilee celebrations of Indian independence. Many of these exhibitions were designed by the design school, IDC in particular, and many of this Festival of India or this outreach, which was like made in different countries, including Russia, America, Japan, were designed by NID. And that's why exhibition design was very, very important. Because it kind of showcased the culture of India. It was that kind of an outreach event. Now we had urban housing, we had complex housing, so we needed new things. And this is one thing which was new to Indian household, a fire extinguisher. Right? So in societies you need things to be kept, and this is like fire. Please do not click photographs. Please just focus on writing. Please do not click photographs. Just listen, hear, everything is recorded here. You can see traffic later. Right? So just see that how society is changing. Now people are also carrying lunch for longish working hours. Now there is a huge new working class emerging. So now what you need to do? You need to make things like tiffin box. A tiffin box which can have the Indian food. Right? Indian food is not like Western food, which can be kind of different compartments. You need different shapes, you need different kind of size to incorporate the various components of Indian thali of food. So this is one exploration. And same in the airline. At the airline also you need to have the Indian food in the air India. You cannot have sandwiches, or you cannot have like the utensils which are designed for the Western food. You need utensils for the Indian food. So who's going to design it? Designers. So these are some of the initial explorations. So what you see here, design here, was actually revolutionary too. So when someone talked about design, they say, it is not like engineering. It is very different. Please do not record it. Please. Please do not record it. Yeah? हाँ नहीं लेना है, नहीं लेना है, don't take it. You can refer the recording later. It's already. It is functionalist, right? You can see that, the purpose of design is to solve a problem. Kerosene lamp, solve the problem. Fire extinguisher, solve the problem. Lunchbox, solve the problem. There is a problem, you solve it. But it's a borrowed idea. Design with a capital D as a tradition came from Ul. Right? It is not necessarily negotiating with the Indian craft as such. Right? So it's a borrowed idea, it's a transplanted idea in India. Then let's go study for identity. किसी को बताओ कि डिजाइन करने क्या है, आज तो फिर भी लोगों को पता है. पर अभी भी if you guys go home, डिजाइन करने आप कई लोग बताना पड़ता है what is design, how is it different from fine arts or engineering, right? Even your parents must have asked, what is this? Is it fashion design? Is it what? Then it is also binary design. When you start knowing design, you feel, oh, it is so powerful. It can do so many things, right? Now I come to the second part of it, that is developmental paradigm. Now, we all know that why we are doing design. We are doing design to develop the world. But at the same time, when the world is developed, you see so many designs, right? I take this very basic example. When you see a flyover, you say that city is developed now, because now there is a flyover, right? So there is a design and there is a development, and the relationship is very, very close. And then there's always this question: design brings development or development brings design? So which one of this is true? Design brings development or development brings design? So both. Basically, it's a two-way process. It's like a chicken and egg argument. So there were discussions. There were a lot of this thing that how the design should be. In 1979, there was this huge conference in India, and which kind of attracted the world's attention. They said, whatever we are going to design is going for the development. So now the purpose of design is to develop, right? And we see a lot of these things like during that particular time, the Gareli Hatao, emergency in India, 1977-79, social housing, and this is all there to develop the world, or develop India, right? And you will see again government or the international agencies like UNDP, now they are finding some of the faculty members to come to India. So this exchange is still on. Okay? They are coming here and discussing what is design. So like this Manfred Hohmann coming from Germany and teaching like how things could be. So like this is one one chair system that he had designed. It looks simple, but it was complex then using the material. It was the first time when a public exhibition on design was done. So now it's very common that whatever you have designed, you have all these posters around now, who has done what and all, Indian designers and all. So for the first time, IIT Bombay had one public exhibition in 1979 in the Nehru Auditorium in Worli, in Bombay. And you see that so many people are coming there just to see क्या करा क्या बनाया है क्या है, right? And the name of the exhibition was Products for the People. Now, when you are studying or when you are when you are dealing with the science of design, you are dealing with the data also. Like I mentioned, sometimes you are dealing with anthropometry, which is very, very quantitative. They started developing or recording the Indian data also. What is the height of Indian child, typical Indian child? What is the body type? So they were trying to look the same parameters but Indian values, right? So that they can have Indian data. अगर इंडिया में कुछ करना है तो what is navigation? Okay. They were also looking at that while they are designing for urban India, we should also design for the rural India. So they are doing a lot of studies that like multiplicity studies that people with design, they are doing it inside. And just see, like, just on bicycle what it can do. So now designers are wondering, like, what can be done further? Should we design specific bicycles or not? Or should let the bicycle be it and let people modify? We are also discussing the low cost scenario because there's a huge urban area which wants certain upgradations in life, right? They cannot afford the old Fiat, if you remember, or ambassadors. They also wanted to have like new cars, and this is almost contemporary to Maruti. So this is like a 3-wheeler converted into a car for a mini urban family or a nuclear urban family. So development paradigm is about real design. It is design which is contextualized with Indian values. It's an agent of change and it is also cost effective. It has to be really cost effective, otherwise it won't work. Otherwise it won't reach people. When we talk about the third paradigm, which I call as reflective paradigm, so we are not discussing just what is design, like in function. So now we are not discussing the design and use. We are now discussing design and user. Right? What's the personality of the user? We are now discussing the experience part. And it's the first time when we are starting discussing what is communication design in industry design. What is the role of communication design? And we started thinking about multiplicity. So now you can see this one of the exercise from IDC in 1983 or 84. This is chair for different occasions, right? So this is like a 1 week or 2 week, a sprint exercise, designing chairs for astronaut, designing chairs for a radiwala, a designing chair that is real, or soldier's chair, mountaineer's chair, mechanic's chair, picnic chair. The brief was the chair that you can wear, right? A mashup between the apparel design and the product design, or the furniture design. A furniture that you can wear. They started also looking into new materials. So now plastic was also coming up in 1980s. Traditional materials were also there, but bamboo was also there. They also looked into the possibilities, what we can do further. So designing bamboo chairs, bamboo lamps. This was 1980s. This is furniture from 1990s. So now they are thinking, okay, now we have made a chair which looks good, which is ergonomic. But how can we make chair which is regional, which is local? So this is one example. Also designing new things which are used by women. So this is especially from the feminist point of view, that often these designs are designed by men for women. But here there is one designer, Jhumki, or Professor Jhumki Iyengar, she is also one of the adjunct professors at IIT Kanpur. She, as a student, designed a sewing machine, okay, with certain brief that how the sewing machine should be. And she worked with 3 simple words: it should be feminine, it should be smart, and it should be simple. That anyone can use. Totally different perspective and a women design for it. This design, again based on very Ulm values of Gestalt principle, simple design, is now used at mass level. I think you are also going to use it next year with the Lok Sabha election. Have you guys voted ever? Okay, some of you have voted. That's great. But next year you are going to vote. Please register your voter ID card here in Gujarat. Okay? Please exercise that function. So this design is again designed by, actually it was given to both the institutes, but what finally came through was IDC's design. So you see, design in this communication term or the reflective term, something which has a reference to culture, which is addressing the subjectivity. It is not objective design. It is not one design for all. it is like one framework, and then how you can have multiple designs. It is about how something could be very future looking from something very, very, like, historically relevant. It is also exploring alternatives to Western design or the mainstream design, like we saw in the bamboo. When we put things together, there are three paradigms which I propose: foundational, developmental, and reflective. And you can see, what are the different ontologies, or the focus, if I say. First one is functional, second one is social development, how we can bring change in society. And third is cultural and environment. How can we address the idea of culture? And that term is still kind of coming up, and then there are still a lot of possibilities. We can have comparative history and all. Right? So thanks for your kind attention. As I said, it's going to be short. So I'm done. If you have any questions, please let me know. The mic is also dying, so it's telling you to stop. Please ask a question if you have, or any discussion point. We can discuss for 2-3 minutes.
There are some points describing each country, Japan, technology.
I don't get it.
Like Japan is known for its technology and minimalism. You get German with clean lines and fonts. Is there any particular?
So, very interesting question. That is there anything Indian design? Am I right? I think so. I would say that we have a lot of Indian designs. So Indian design cannot be kind of defined in just one way of designing. There are multiple ways of designing. There are multiple eras of designing which we kind of take out. There are multiple geographies in which we design. There are multiple levels which we design. Like often at a very derogatory level we say that Jugaad is very Indian way. Right? We say that Jugaadu thing is doing Indian way. But actually Jugaad is a very common feature in all the resource lacking countries or the resource lacking culture. It is a need. I mean, are we choosing to be Jugaadu? No. We do Jugaad to save money or to save resource. Right? And that has become perhaps our attitude. So this is just one of it. The other is ornamentation. We celebrate a lot of things through ornamentation. Yesterday I saw my first Garba night. Okay, this was my first experience. I've stayed in Ahmedabad, but I've never experienced Garba. Okay. Why? And one can just wonder, why do you need to have Garba? Right? What's the big deal? Why people are just kind of rotating and revolving around? But you see from a very rational mind. If you think very rationally, you might not need it. But there is something experience, something which is your identity, and that's why you do it. Right? So Indian design is also about subjectivity, about that experience, about that culture reference. Right? So there are many Indian designs, I would say. So it's very difficult to design or say that what is Indian. But one thing which I can say, if you go outside the country, you will realize better that what is Indian. So sometimes when we are in swimming pool, we are not able to understand what is swimming pool or what is water. Once we go out of the swimming pool, at a distance, then we realize what is water, what is swimming pool, right? So Indian design is like that. Okay, so any question? I think everyone wants to just go and find out. So please submit your own reports. Please write your name and if you have roll number also.
Yes.
Okay, that's good that you have a roll number. Please write roll number and submit it now. If you have 2 sheets, staple it.
Yes.